Good evening, fans, and welcome to episode 4 of Sports Talk with Rags. As tonight, the subject is high school football. And tonight, my guest is a longtime friend, Coach Lou Johnston, where we first met when he was the head coach at Western Branch High School. How are you doing tonight, Coach?
I'm great, Rags. Good to be with you, brother.
Hey, thanks for taking time out. And as you see here at the bottom of the screen, here we got 22 years of head football coach. But I know that your start with Western Branch football started there before your head coaching gig. So tell the listeners out there.
I was actually an assistant coach there for 12 years. Graduated from William & Mary and came right to work at Western Branch in 1971. Left for a couple of years to seek my fame and fortune, attempting to sell life insurance. That didn't work out too well. Got back into education and coaching and was very fortunate, very blessed the day that Mr. Art Brandorf, our wonderful principal, called me in July of 1985 and said, "Lou, you're our new head football coach." So I'd waited a long time to get my dream job, and I wasn't about to give it up. So 22 years later, I finally decided it was time to step away. So.
Right. Yes, and I know that they're a long tradition there with Western Branch football here, and the first guest here of my show here, Sports Talk with Rags, was with the 95 grad there from Western Branch, straight by. Yes, that was also a classmate of your son. Also,
yes, indeed. They played together for 3 years, and still good friends.
Right. Yes.
Great guy.
Yeah.
Great guy.
And let's see. And then after one thing that I talked with Dre was, I mean, a lot of it was talking about playing in the Super Bowl, but then we finished the show with UNC's schedule and talking about the first week being against the Hokies, and he beat me to it, saying Hokie Week. And I know that we also had some Bruin alums that went to go play at Virginia Tech.
Yeah, we had 6 or 7 guys over a period of about 8-9 years that went up to Virginia Tech, and that was really during their heyday when Michael Vick and that bunch were playing for a national championship. And interestingly, in that national championship game, Rags, we had 2 Western Branch High School graduates starting for Virginia Tech in the national championship game.
All right, yeah, that's right. I know that one was Chiron Stiff, who was,
and the other was Emmett Johnson, wide receiver.
Okay.
So
all right.
That was pretty special. My daughter Mandy and I actually flew down and were there for the game. So that was a pretty good night. Unfortunately, came up a little short, but it certainly put Virginia Tech on the map.
Right. Yes, I know that definitely started Virginia Tech football there nationally, but I know with Dre, he was already circling week 1 here with Bruin alums that have gone to Virginia Tech, and then him at UNC and currently on the coaching staff. So hey, so with your knowledge here of high school football, because like it shows on the bottom of the screen, after you were done with head coaching at Western Branch, then you went to Jolliffe Middle
I took a year off, and that was 2006, 2007, and just found Rags. I miss working with the kids, and the opportunity came up. The principal at Jolliffe Middle was a good friend, Dr. Lee Fowler, and he kind of coaxed me over there, and ended up being 3 wonderful years at Jolliffe Middle. Chance to work with a different age kid, a different age group. We were very successful, and I enjoyed watching those kids move on up. Whereas at the high school level, I was watching our kids move on to college. From having coached 3 years at Jolliffe Middle, I was able to see those kids graduate, if you would, up to the Western Branch High School program and watch them move through there. So that was really special.
Right, and with being at Jolliffe Middle, you stayed in the pipeline there of growing football.
And that was the idea, to be part of that feeder program for the high school and help them. So still involved in football.
Right, that's right. Yeah, we'll get to that also, and then your last head coaching assignment was there on the private school side here with Nansemond Suffolk Academy.
Yeah, again, one of those little God instances, I call them, where I just literally signed my papers to retire from Chesapeake Public Schools, and saw in the pilot that the coach at NSA had resigned. I went, that might be interesting, worth looking into, and called out there. And a month later, I'm hired and spent 5 wonderful years doing nothing but coaching. So that was nice. It's kind of a semi-retirement job. We made the state playoffs 4 of the 5 years, and in my last game, we won the state championships. It was a nice way to ride out into the sunset.
Right. Yes, and with you guys playing Atlantic Shores, it was right here at the Sportsplex, and nothing better than to go back out and head coaching retirement, because I wouldn't say that you're retired there from high school football, but with your head coaching assignment. What'd you say?
Too much in my blood.
Right, but no, we'll get to that. But I know with your head coaching assignments, nothing better than to in your last game to win that state title and leave on top.
Great group of kids, great coaches, and it was really a nice way to go out.
Right. Yes, and so here with the public school this week for the games starting high school football.
Right.
With the COVID days last night, kicking it off right here in Chesapeake. This is the first time since December 14th, 2019 that a Chesapeake High School varsity football team came onto the field in a game. Tell us here about with going on with the COVID times, and with what you were saying here a few minutes ago, where you're still involved in the Bruin program. What's been going on here, where it's been over a year plus that we had an actual game?
Well, I think the biggest thing I saw last night was just, and I told Coach Cook this morning, I said it was more like a first preseason scrimmage from my perspective. I mean, they had 3 weeks of practice, no scrimmages, probably very little live contact. And it showed last night. Unfortunately, they also played in the quagmire, which didn't help things. But, just a lot of very typical first game mistakes, which you see at the college level too, right? They go out there the first game, you see a lot of illegal procedure penalties, fumbles, bad snaps that I know. And I go all the way back to my playing days, which, we're back in the 1800s. We won't go that far. But, even my high school coach at Bray Bridge, Billy O'Brien, who was a legend in his own time, used to tell us that the greatest amount of improvement comes between your first and your second game. And, you've got a chance that you got a game under your belt. You've learned from your mistakes. You go out this week and you correct them. Of course, Western Branch, the Chesapeake schools have a short week because they're going to play their second game again on Saturday.
Right.
So I think that's probably what I know Western Branch is going to spend their time on, is correcting mistakes and just improving on those things. But that's what the COVID year has been all about. Is everything's all consolidated, and so you're not going to see the typical quality, high level of quality football that you do in this area on a year like this. It's just crazy.
Right, because they're in the fall when schools started. They had a couple weeknight practices, and then they went on a pause, and then winter sports were called off, and
Yep.
then the end of January came, and with the calendar turning to February, it's boom, it's football time.
Yeah.
And
Well, I know the kids are excited. Coaches are excited. Just to have the opportunity to compete. That's what it's all about. And as I said, I know as they continue through the season, things are going to improve. I have high hopes for Bruin football, and I know the rest of the schools in Chesapeake are quality football teams with quality coaches, and you're going to see a good product before the season's over. I can promise that.
Yes, it's I know that with being a Bruin alum, I'm kind of biased there to the
Sure.
blue and gold, but I know that the city of Chesapeake, we had two games played last night, Deep Creek and Grassfield, and that's a crosstown down the street.
That's a big rivalry.
And when my brother and I were at Western Branch, and then with your life being a Great Bridge alum and coaching at Western Branch, I mean, I certainly remember the Great Bridge Western Branch rivalries there in the early '90s, and I think Adam Winkler of Channel 3, he posted on his Facebook page. He called it the Mud Bowl, last night.
It was that.
But also it's just amazing on the following of high school football, because
you go all the way back. They talk about Friday Night Lights in Texas, but if you saw the movie Remember the Titans, the little girl at the beginning is saying, high school football in Virginia is serious business, not just in Tidewater, but all over the state. But Tidewater has a reputation nationwide, Rags, as one of the top hotspots. I mean, that's why you've got Big Ten and Southeastern Conference, and of course the ACC. This is local for them. They recruit from everywhere. You might not remember it, but probably one of the first Tidewater superstars was back in the 1970s. A young man by the name of Kenny Easley, who played at Oscar Smith, and UCLA, which was a top 10 school back then. They came all the way to the East Coast to recruit him. Of course, that's where he signed and had I know you're a big Seahawk fan, so you know who I'm talking about, but he had a great career in the NFL. But, so I'm saying even back in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, colleges from all over the country knew what caliber of high school football player and high school football was being played around here. And that's why they still come and look. I wish that Virginia Tech and UVA could keep a few more of them in state, but with Dre down in Carolina, I got a root for my boy too. So.
And the amazing thing, I mean, even last night, coming off with that late afternoon storm, but Grassfield and Deep Creek and Great Bridge and Western Branch were still playing. I mean, I haven't had a chance to look at Channel 10, but I know that Channel 3, their sports director was at both games, and here is on a Monday night. And I know that following on Twitter, the paper and Recruit 757.
Well, as we were just saying, Tidewater football is still king as far as Friday night is concerned. And Monday night, it's a shame, but they did have a packed house last night. They sold all 250 of their tickets.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, and actually, Western Branch. I mean, with this crazy season, and I haven't really found where a full schedule is. But here, first game's Monday night, and then game two is not even next week. It's this Saturday.
Yep, to be able to get in 6 games with 7 teams, they had to play 2 the first week, and then starting next Friday, it'll be Friday down through the end for 4 straight weeks. So that was the only way they were able to schedule it.
Right, and then also in a normal year, the Southeastern District would consist of Chesapeake and Suffolk, but this year with what's going on, the Chesapeake schools are just playing within their city, and Suffolk is doing the same. But I'm hearing that the VHSL and I saw in basketball, I think they're still going to have some type of playoff.
Yes, they've increased the number of schools back to when I was coaching, and we were vying for a playoff spot where you only have 4 teams that make it in each region of the state. So they're knocking out a week or 2 of playoffs. But with only 5 or 6 games, I was talking with my good friend Danny Dodson over at Woodside a few weeks ago. He said, Coach, if we lose a game, we may not make the playoffs. I mean, Division 5 is that strong. There are that many good teams, and so he's concerned about that. And I think anybody is. You really got to run the table if you want a shot at making that top 4.
Yeah, I think Group 5 and Group 6, definitely some.
And the other thing you got to take into account is the Richmond area schools are now part of our region.
Right.
When I was the head coach, it was Southeastern, Eastern, Beach, and Peninsula. And that's all you competed against. Well, now they're going to bring down, Thomas Dale and Meadowbrook and, all those great schools up there. Highland Springs, they're perennial state champions. They're part of our region now. It's going to make it that much tougher to get to the state finals. So two playoffs in the region, and then 2 you go to the state semi, and that's your final 4. So it'll be competitive. There's no doubt it'll be competitive.
Yeah, and usually a regular season is 10 games,
right?
And this year it's 6. So one loss.
The beach is only playing 5.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and of course Suffolk's only playing 4. So unfortunately, because of that, they don't qualify for the regions. Yeah, the VHSL said you had to play at least 5 games.
5 games.
So they're going to have a city championship in Suffolk.
Right. And then Norfolk and Portsmouth that make up the Eastern District.
They're all playing. They're playing, and I think they're playing 5 games also. But don't quote me on that.
Right. Yeah. But no. Hey, I also I've seen. Tell the listeners out there about this Coach's Corner here on recruit757.com that our friend Andy Hilton has you doing.
Andy has been a good friend for a long time and a good friend of high school athletes in the area. I actually started a website and a blog, when I went to Jolliffe Middle. So that was 2008, 2009. And I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, Andy was reading the blog and he said, "Oh, this is good. Can I post this on Recruit 757?" I said, "Sure." And then, this is good. Can I? And it got to the point where he asked about 6 or 7 times. I went, "Andy, look, if you like it and you think it's good enough, you are welcome to post it." So he's stealing from my blog, Rags. He'll kill me for saying that. Sorry, Andy, if you're listening. But it's nice. Helping coaches is just part of my DNA, I talk to coaches all over the country through emails and texts and Zoom conferences. And again, I just like to advise, and I appreciate the fact that people think I have a little bit of wisdom and knowledge. And I just like, what do you call it? Pay it forward.
Right.
Help these guys in their careers. So.
Right, and to piggyback on that, I know that you were helping Justin there the last couple years, who with NSA, he was part of your coaching staff over there, and now he's got a head coaching job, and then right here at Western Branch with Coach Cook. That's a former player of yours.
Very, very special that Western Branch brought back one of their own, and Rashad has hired a number of former Bruin players on his staff, and they've got it going in the right direction. They picked the right man. They're going to be very successful. He's going to return the pride to Bruin football that we had for a long time there.
Yes, and hey, so I see that we're almost done with our time here. So as we're wrapping up here, I would like to promote. As I said at the beginning, Coach Johnston here's been a longtime friend of my brothers and mine since the late '80s, and here another thing that you were doing during COVID times. Tell the listeners here about the book.
Well, we needed something to do during the quarantine back last spring, didn't we? I decided to write a book. I've always enjoyed writing, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to accumulate my memoirs here. And somebody said, Lou, you really ought to put this all together and write a book. And I went, and that sort of gelled in my head. So started putting it all down. And when it was done, Rags, any of you that have seen the book, there's like 400 pages. My son looks at it and goes, well, this is really small print. My gosh, that's a thick book. I said, I had a lot to say, Brian. I had a lot to say. So it's been very well received. And I just was really happy to be able to recognize not only players, but administrators, cheerleaders, managers, assistant coaches, our Paul Sumner, our wonderful announcer for high school games, Ann Klein, Ann Turner, our secretary. I just wanted to give as much recognition as I could to all the people who helped me for our program to be as successful as it was when I was the head coach.
Right, and if you haven't gotten your copy, and it's a great book, and you can go to Amazon, right?
Right.
That's where. Yes, and buy your copy. Great reading, and so all right, Coach. Well, hey. Thanks for your time, and I know one thing here with your William and Mary connection with the book. You talked about Cortland Mariner playing for William and Mary, but I know at NSA Noah Giles.
Correct. It was kind of neat. My last year at Western Branch and my last year at NSA had two of my favorite players, both tremendous running backs, go up to my alma mater and play up there. So it was really neat to see them in the green and gold.
Right. So, but all right. Well. Hey, I see that we've already reached our time, and Coach Johnston, you and I, we can sit here for 30 more minutes, but I know that we got other things to on our schedule. But I want to appreciate you taking time out and being on the show tonight.
It was great. Always like talking with you, Regs.
Right. Yes. And hey, I'd like to like to give a shout out here to Mike Sharp as a 93 grad of Western Branch that
Mike
gave
finally
me.
mentioned to me a few weeks ago that he wishes he had come out for football.
Right? Yeah. He definitely could have helped here with some jump balls there in the end zone. You know,
Randy Moss for sure.
Yeah, coming from TJ.
Yeah.
But no, he's the one that gave me the access to the website and all the other fans that are out there. That is it for tonight's episode. And you might not be able to go see a game in person this year, but NFHS is a website that is covering a lot of the high school games here due to the times that we're in, and I gotta give a shout out here to go Bruins football.
There you go.
So
absolutely.
All right. Good night.
Good night.